I'm inspired by bright voices that speak violently about beautiful things or speak beautifully about violent things.
IDLES, a gut-punch powerhouse of rock innovation, has snowballed violently since their beginnings in 2009 to become one of the best current bands on the planet. Their ferocious energy and unapologetic authenticity have captured the minds and hearts of people all over the world, redefining punk rock in the process. They produce visceral, loud, angry, unrelenting sonic assaults on the senses. This raw aggressiveness, though, acts as a vehicle for the band's commitment to addressing vital societal issues: racism, homophobia, immigration, mental health, toxic masculinity, loss. They embody that longing for a cathartic release and a rallying cry for change. So, who are IDLES, and how do they capture that punk rock essence to turn the devastation of life into anthems of love and community? Hi, I'm Adam, welcome back to Music Mongoose. To understand the characteristics of IDLES, a good place to start would be where they formed, the band's hometown, Bristol. That's in the southwest of England. By the way, very excited to be doing this video. I'm a massive fan of IDLES. Not that you could tell in any way whatsoever. I'm a huge, understated fan of IDLES. Oh, what a nerd. This one is a super exclusive pressing that came out only in Brazil. I had someone ship it over. I'll just pop them up here for now. Lovely. Okay, where were we? So, Bristol. That is where Joe Talbot, Mark Bowen, Andy S, Adam Devonshire and John Harper formed IDLES in 2009-ish. And it also happens to be very close to where I grew up, so I know it very well. Bristol is a place of many different cultures, self-expressionism, individualism, activism. It's a lovely place to be. And you're probably thinking, where have I heard the name Bristol before? Let me jog your memory.
Ripped to the ground in just seconds. It now lies at the bottom of the city's harbour.
Bristol has a somewhat shady past, a town which was once Britain's busiest slave trading port. In 1750 alone, Bristol ships transported nearly half of the 20,000 enslaved Africans sent that year to the British Caribbean and North America. From this, Bristol's modern identity began to form.
What came of it was a lot of immigration, a lot of immigrants building our city and making it a beautiful place. And what that led to along the ways was people celebrating each other's differences.
Bristol's population is known for their celebration of diversity. This mix of culture alongside their renowned creativity gave rise to trip-hop in the 90s, a psychedelic fusion of hip-hop and electronica. Banksy, the well-known, or not so well-known, artist, hails from Bristol as well, renowned for his artwork that reflects political and societal injustices. Bristol has a history of activism and has been at the forefront of movements related to environmental sustainability, LGBTQ+ rights, and social justice. Bristol is a place of outspokenness, resilience, creativity, but most importantly, community. There's a huge community spirit in Bristol, across cultures and subcultures, all coming together to acknowledge the shady past of Bristol and ensuring that nothing monstrous like that could ever happen again. With this background, you can begin to understand the foundations of what IDLES are all about.
Our intent and our message is paramount. It's always the same thing, and that is love. It's making anyone that listens to our music feel like they are part of something much bigger than themselves.
In the band's first couple of years, they released EPs Welcome and Meet. These began to intrigue music journalists across the country, and the buzz of IDLES began to spread. By 2014, IDLES had changed their lineup, replacing Andy S with Lee Kiernan and John Harper for John Beavis. A John for a John. This is the current lineup as it stands today. In 2016, the band released Divide and Conquer, the first single from their debut album, Brutalism, an album absolutely drenched in Joe Talbot's trauma. At just 6 months old, Talbot's parents split. After a heart attack resulted in an early retirement for Christine, Joe's mother, Talbot very quickly felt the pressure of responsibility. Christine suffered a stroke that paralysed her when Joe was just 16 years old. And after the passing of his stepfather, he was his mother's primary carer. This pressure soon led to drugs, alcohol, and violence. Talbot would become an alcoholic, not becoming sober until 2017, the same year their debut album was released. While recording the album, Joe's mother passed away. This, according to Joe, changed the entire process of the album recording. Christine became a much bigger part of the album. Her picture is seen on the album cover. The song Mother, for example, is a song about a system and a society that required his mother to essentially work herself to death just to provide for her children. In a much more physical sense, for 100 limited pressings, Joe's Mother is the album.
The whole reason why that album came to light is because of my mum's passing. And what better way to capture that metaphorically than to put her ashes in the vinyl?
Yeah, Christine's actual ashes were pressed into a limited run of the album. This idea of grief and trauma influencing art would become a running theme throughout IDLES' discography, whether that be the individual trauma of the band members or a collective trauma of a nation or a community of people. And if their first album thematically explored motherhood, their second album, Joy as an Act of Resistance, would explore fatherhood. When writing the album, Joe Talbot was preparing to become a father. Sadly, his daughter Agatha died during childbirth. Again, this trauma went on to define in many ways the album. The track June refers directly to Agatha, borrowing a line from Ernest Hemingway, "For sale, baby shoes, never worn." The album tackles toxic masculinity, immigration, nationalism, mental health, self-love, Brexit. A heavy, aggressive, visceral sound throughout, but acting as a vehicle for an overarching message: hope, unity, positivity, love. The idea of coming together and finding love through the downfalls of life and society. This is the message IDLES continues to lead with in their records and live shows. And as someone who's been to a good number of their shows, that love and unity is real. You can feel it. Those couple of hours become an incredible cathartic experience. You're surrounded by people who are just as angry at the world as you are. It's beautiful. You know, Mark, the guitarist, will often come out in a dress, often in just boxers, and I think that really is a symbol of be comfortable, be who you want to be, dress how you want to dress, just be yourself. This is a safe place, do what you want, it's all cool, and I love that. And the crowds look violent, don't get me wrong, they look like any other punk or heavy rock audience, but there's this undercurrent of love and community and understanding that runs throughout. At least that's the sense that I get when I watch them. Just a cathartic release of self-love. If someone talked to you the way you do to you, I'd put their teeth through. Love yourself. Lyrics from the song Television. Joy as an Act of Resistance launched IDLES to new heights. The record was received with overwhelmingly positive reviews. It shifted 60,000 copies in its first year, reached number 5 in the UK album charts, became shortlisted for a Mercury Prize, and sent them on tours across Japan, North America, and Europe, stamping their influence on the global music scene. The band's focus and intentions continued with Album 3, Ultra Mono, released in 2020, and Album 4, Crawler, released a year later. Now more in the mainstream consciousness, it's easy to label this band as punk. But Joe, the vocalist, on many occasions has insisted that IDLES is not a punk band, which I think is interesting. He doesn't want to put a label on it. He doesn't want to restrict the art of IDLES. While their earlier stuff certainly rings with that punk sensibility, a lot of their offerings stray away from that category hugely. June, like we discussed earlier, is much slower and emotional. Beachland Ballroom from their latest album takes on a real soulful quality. Progress on that album I think could quite comfortably fit on a Mumford & Sons album. No offense intended, but it's quite folky. So while their sound doesn't necessarily fit into one genre, there is that overarching message that umbrellas the entire thing. And perhaps that serves as a metaphor. Just as their songs don't fit into one particular genre, their fans don't either. Their community is a rich tapestry of cultures and people, all coming together with that same need for community and love and togetherness. I think music journalist Ged Baby puts it really well. Punk rock, which instead of calling for anarchy and saying I don't care, is shouting unity and love is all. So that is my take on IDLES, one of my favourite bands on the planet. I would love to know your experience with them. Maybe you caught a show of theirs recently, maybe you just discovered their work recently. Whatever it is, pop a comment down below. And speaking of redefining genre, you can click this video to find out why Jimmy Page is probably the best guitarist to have ever walked the planet. Do like this video if you liked it, because it really helps to spread the channel to other people. Subscribe as well for the same reason. And with that, I'll catch you next time on Music Mongoose. Okay, bye bye now, bye.